Hi, guys. Welcome to Real Talk with Real Food Recovery. This is our weekly wisdom segment with our Real Food Recovery leaders. And this week we have a very special episode. We want to talk about a skill set, a safety skill set that encompasses three different things: story, strategy, and state. Heather brought this to us from something she had heard from Tony Robbins about 10 years ago, and it really emphasizes how the mind matters in our level of achievement and our ability to be successful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Heather talk about that a little bit more, and then I will finish with my thoughts after Jamie's done talking. So Heather, tell us about that, how you came across it and what your feelings are about it.
First came across it about 10 years ago, and it just changed how I did and saw everything. It was so dynamic and how effective it was for me. I used it and I was really successful. I remember at the time I even started a new business, and oh my goodness, it affected me in so many ways. And the reason why this is so effective is because you're integrating your mind and body together. We often think of things and try to make changes and motivate ourselves cognitively, just through the brain. The brain is great, but the body and mind need to be integrated to make long-lasting, permanent, sustainable changes. So I used to think that emotion was just emotions and I had no control over them. But we actually do have control over them, and we can change our state. It's a direct result of our state. As an example, this morning earlier, I didn't realize I was sitting here slumped like that. I was like, just kind of, I don't know what's going on with me, but just changing your body posture. And there's research on this, that just changing our body posture, our state that we're in, can control our emotions. We can be motivated, we can be unmotivated by using your body. There was research that was done around posture, and they had different people. They took two groups. In one group, they had them stand in the superhero pose, and they stood up 2 minutes, and actually it helped motivate people to finish and get things done. And then they had people slouched and slumped, and people felt unmotivated after. So just something like that, just changing your body posture, can be very effective. When we control our state, we can control what we're thinking, and we can control our emotions at the same time. Jamie, did you want to add? I know you're educated and knowledgeable on this.
Tony Robbins was a game changer for me as well. I started really diving into him back in 2016, and huge help. It's, the whole idea of strategy, story, and state. That whole sort of triad really comes from the fact that only 1% of success in any kind of change comes from strategy. 1%. The other 99% is in story and state. And so there's no, like, for instance, let's talk about the weight loss world. We have so many people that have tons of knowledge on how to lose weight. It's well documented. There's lots of information out there. There's lots of paths to get there. And frankly, many of them work. So it's not a strategy issue. It's typically where people can get stalled or off track is if they have a disempowering story, or they're feeling, sort of the state of negativity around themselves or their current status of weight. And that can really take them to a place of getting stuck. And that 99% can easily overwhelm that 1%. So I've applied it in my life around lots of things, mostly around the stories that I carried from childhood of being, the sort of the family scapegoat. I had these disempowering stories, and I've been unpacking them over the last couple of years and adopting them and adapting them to what's actually true. And it's been a game changer, and it's also helped me change my state. I also observe leaders. I observe leaders at all levels of the organization that I work for. And these are, physicians to PhD researchers to senior executives. And I look at the way that they hold themselves, the way they carry themselves. And I've adopted that many times, because I know where my focus goes, my energy flows. So if I'm feeling negative, I just like Heather, you mentioned, I will sort of crouch down and feel maybe sort of a victim. And
Smaller.
exactly, and I'll stop myself and say, okay, I need to sit back, and I will immediately feel better. And then I'll say, okay, what's going on with the story in my head right now? How about you, Paige?
Yeah, I love this so much. And I have to say that until I got into recovery, I really thought it was only about strategy, because I am a huge proponent of having a plan and being organized. And I thought, that's the majority of it. And listening to this about what the big impact of the stories we tell ourselves in the state that we're in, I'm now coming to understand how vital of a role that makes in our success. And I also, once I started in recovery, I had the opportunity to change the story in my head from, this is so hard, I can't do it, I'm hungry, I want a donut, to, that's not even who I am now. I don't want that, and I don't want the consequences. And it just is a practice. It becomes a skill set, and man, does it become a strength when you can learn to pull from the negative and drive it to the positive. You have the power to do anything. You can talk yourself into doing anything. The world, it's limitless of your potential once you change the story in your head. So if you guys try that, let us know how it works. It will literally change the chemistry on a cellular level in your brain, and you will be unstoppable. But most of all, thanks for being with us this week. And if you want to find out more about Real Food Recovery, you can find us at realfoodrecovery4u.com. That's the number 4 and the letter U. And we will see you next week. Thanks, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.